Kira here with another 7 Scrappy Ladies challenge. Today we are scrap lifting ourselves. So this is my layout that I'm scrap lifting. This was actually like my 4th layout I've ever made. So the challenge is to go back a year or more, but I haven't been scrapbooking that long. I started scrapbooking late September, early October of last year, and which is right around the time that we started this YouTube channel, actually. And yeah, that was one of my very first layouts. And the reason I have a picture of it is because I posted it on Instagram, and I really like it. I mean, it's a really pretty layout. But when I first started scrapbooking, and maybe many viewers similar, that I didn't have a style yet. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what kind of scrapbooker I was. And I don't think that I really even found my style until recently, like within the last couple months. But I was very much influenced by the scrapbookers that I watched on YouTube. So I don't know if you can tell by the photo which scrapbookers I watched a lot of during that time, but I was very much influenced by Sue's Fish and LZ for this layout. And what I did was I created a mood board, my very first mood board I ever created, and I kind of created the mood board based on the quote that the title is. So the title is "Every Day Spent With You is My Favorite Day," and it's a Winnie the Pooh quote. And so I kind of made this mood board that reflected that quote. And I had like this picture of like this kind of like hand-drawn watercolored tree was part of the mood board, and I was like, oh, that'd be so pretty if I painted this tree behind my picture, like watercolored this tree behind my picture. And I'm going to tell you right now that the watercoloring that I did does not look as good as it does in the picture of the layout because there's a lot of editing that happens before I post pictures on Instagram. So the picture of my layout is not exactly how the watercolor looks. It's not as like muted as that, which I wish it was, because it's just a little too bright for kind of the effect I was going for. Anyways, that's where I started. I started with this watercolored tree, and then I hand stitched part of my title. I didn't stitch all of the title, just the favorite part of it. And then I typed out in little strips the rest of the quote. And then I basically did a lot of like layering behind the photo, very Sue's Fish-esque with my layering. And then did a couple, I did like a cluster on top of the photo and then a couple clusters around the title. And then that was it. That was my layout. And I'm looking back on it and I'm like, okay, well, it's a pretty layout, but it's not me. So scrap lifting this is going to be tough because I don't want a watercolor. I do not want a watercolor on this layout. So I'm like, okay, well, let's do something that's a little bit less mixed media, a little more my style now. So what I did with this layout is I started with this yellow and white striped paper, and then I layered on top of that in an angled sort of way, which I've been doing a lot lately on my layouts. I layered this like aqua color paper on top of that. I knew I was going to hand stitch my title because clearly the original had hand stitching in it. I do hand stitching all the time now, so I knew I wanted hand stitching in my title. And I went with kind of the same thing that I did with the original layout, which was I picked a quote to make my title. So my title is going to be "Summer is a State of Mind," which I'm putting on right now with my thickers. And so I cut out summer out of some paper that had like snow cones on it, because the picture I'm scrapbooking is my son Jonathan, and he's holding up a popsicle. And I just turned the photo, I turned it black and white. And I know I'm hopping all over the place with my train of thought today. Bear with me. So I started with this photo of my son Jonathan. He's holding a popsicle in his hand. I knew I wanted it black and white, but I really liked the poppy yellow with the popsicle in the picture. So what I did was I just went into PicMonkey and I just did the reverse effect on the popsicle to keep that yellow. And then the rest of it is black and white. So have my title, Summer's a State of Mind. So I used my Cricut to cut out Summer. I glued that on. I stitched around in pink thread. And then I decided to do the rest of my title with these like teal thickers. And I think that was a better choice than doing the little strips of paper, because the one thing about my original layout is you can't see the rest of the title, so it just looks like my son is my favorite. And I've talked about that before, that I really don't like using stuff on layouts about my kids that say like my favorite, because I don't want them looking back thinking, what the heck, why was Jonathan your favorite? Why wasn't I your favorite? Or why was Elliot your favorite? So I made sure that this one, you could actually read the rest of the title, which is a State of Mind. I just did those in these little thin alpha thickers. And then I built a couple clusters. The original layout had some wood veneer on it, so I knew I wanted to bring some wood veneer. And luckily I have these little popsicle wood veneers that I was like, oh, those would be perfect. And then these little speech bubbles I thought would be cute to put on there, because there's one that says love and one that says frosty, and then one that's a little asterisk. So I thought those would be cute, and it kind of looks like the little popsicles are saying that. In the original layout, it had a clothespin at the top of the picture, and so I decided to kind of play off of that a little bit and use a little ice cream cone paper clip instead of a clothespin, kind of play off that a little bit. And then I'm just kind of layering up, kind of similar to how I layered the other one, but honestly it's not my forte. I'm not Sue's Fish. I will never be Sue's Fish. Her style is very different from mine, but I think she has a beautiful style, and I think that she's amazing at layering, and I think that she kind of does a good job of showing that in her videos, showing how she layers. But yeah, it's just not, I don't know. She layers by like putting like little pieces in here and there. And I'm more of like a big piece of paper layerer. Anyways, layered up around the photo, used some little puffy hearts, and was like, oh, the original one had enamel dots. So I decided to throw some enamel dots on there. And then, guys, I'm so upset with myself. I was like, let's do some mist and some splatters on here, just like the original one had, because I had done watercolors, and then I did splatters with the watercolors after I did the watercolors. So I was like, okay, we'll do that on this one. We'll just add some splatters. And I thought pink would be cute, since I've got the pink stitching around the title, and I feel like I ruined the layout by doing those splatters, but there it is, an end result. Here are some close-ups. I hope you like it. I think this is a really fun challenge, scrap lifting yourself, and maybe I'll do it again with something not as old, but I hope you guys liked it, and make sure to check out all the other ladies involved in this challenge, and I will link everybody below as normal. So you guys have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye.